3 torches floated across the silver salt lake at dawn, carried by figures in dark cloaks with polished armor underneath, faces hidden, weapons too clean for this world. And they moved like consultants, not refugees, and Lara Chen's spine recognized them before her brain did. Astra's huge tail curled protectively around her. The dragon's eyes went cold. It murmured,
"Not your kind. Not safe."
The leader of the cloaked figures called across the water, voice carrying over reeds and steam.
"We've been tracking the Basilisk Guardian. You killed it."
Lara, gripping her ladle, answered.
"We hunted it. Fair."
The voice replied, smooth as cream.
"And cooked it. That smell is unforgivable."
The young grey dragon growled low and pressed against her leg.
"Get her."
Astra stepped forward, wings lifted just enough to promise violence. Lara raised one open hand. She said,
"Wait, we don't have to fight."
The voice from the dark called back.
"We do. We can't let you become a legend."
The old corporate dread crawled up Lara's spine. Boss voice, client tone, the way Richard had spoken to her at 5 a.m. for 3 years. She looked at her hand. She looked at the pan, still warm with leftover basilisk fat. She opened the portal, not to food, to steel. A heavy kitchen cleaver dropped into her palm like a weapon that had been waiting for her. Astra rumbled, pleased.
"Now you look like a hunter."
Lara said.
"I am..."
The leader pulled back his hood, silver hair slicked back. Smile like a quarterly review, the face Lara had imagined on a death notice every single morning for 3 years. Richard, her boss. He said,
"Lara, you're late again."
Richard's polished armor caught the dawn light wrong on the shore of an alien salt lake. Like he was already bored of being there, like he had taken meetings in worse places. And Lara Chen, gripping a cleaver in one hand and a wet ladle in the other, managed 3 words. "You can't be here," Richard answered, smile not moving. And yet, he raised both hands in the universal posture of a man with no weapon and a contract in his pocket. He said, "Chef, we don't come to fight." Lara replied, "That's what people say before fighting." Richard, gentle as a knife, sliding into silk, said, "We come to negotiate." They met halfway along the silver shore. Astra rumbled smoke from across the water like a missile that had not yet been authorized. Richard explained as they walked, voice modulating into client tone. "We've heard stories, a human who cooks monsters, a dragon who protects her. Our leader wishes to taste your food," Lara said. "And if I say no," Richard, smile still in place, replied, "then you remain unprotected." Astra stepped forward. The lake's surface heated visibly. Steam rose between the reeds. Richard raised one finger like a meeting moderator. No threats, only options. He gestured toward a column of distant smoke beyond the salt flats. "Cook for us, freely, with reward." Lara turned her head a fraction to Astra and murmured, "This feels familiar." Astra answered low, "It is a cage with good manners." Lara looked Richard in the eye for the first time in 3 years and thought, very clearly, "I could kill you here." Then she said aloud, "Fine. Once." Richard bowed. "Excellent. Our chains will remain unseen." Iron cages full of food lined the hunters' camp like a meat market, except the cages were not holding animals, they were holding ingredients, glowing runes pulsing across every padlock, spices measured by sigil and rationed by weight, fire itself controlled not by hands, but by carved magical seals burning red in the dirt. Lara Chen, escorted past these cages by armored guards, said flatly,
"This isn't a kitchen, it's a factory."
Richard, gesturing toward a rusted prep table flanked by guards at every corner, dull knives laid out like a parody of a chef's station, said,
"This is your kitchen."
Lara opened her portal anyway. Clean tools spilled out her chef's knife, her cast iron, her Costco salt-like rebellion in stainless steel. She rolled up her sleeves. She kept it simple. Meat, salt, Heat, respect. The hunters gathered around the prep table and waited. No conversation, just watching. When the dish was plated, they devoured it instantly. Fingers greasy, mouths open, already demanding more. One growled.
Again.
Lara stepped back, wiped her hands on her ruined blazer, and said,
You didn't even taste it.
A new figure stepped out of the shadow of the largest tent armor, polished darker than Richard's, voice like silk laid over gravel. The hunter leader. He said,
Taste is secondary. Effect is what matters.
Astra's claws scraped stone outside the kitchen perimeter, audible from inside. Lara looked at her cleaver, looked up at the leader. She said,
You don't want food. You want output.
The leader answered.
And you want safety.
A metallic click echoed through the camp. Astra leaned down through the canvas roof and murmured, voice deadly calm,
They are prepared to bind me.
Lara Chen flung her portal wide open, and instead of dropping food, it dropped a wall of fire, a controlled column of flame slamming between her body and the hunter's guards, blasting weapons backward, igniting tent ropes, throwing up a curtain of orange light through the entire camp. Seconds earlier, the hunter leader had told her, almost gently, Then you understand why you'll stay. Lara had whispered back, This kitchen is worse than my old job. Then she had decided. She shouted across the burning kitchen, I cooked because I chose to, not because you asked. The hunter leader called, Lara, be reasonable. She answered, voice cold as ice in a server room, You used my name without permission. That is a mistake. Astra spread its wings fully for the first time inside the camp. The runes carved into the dirt floor flared red and then cracked across like glass under pressure. Magical chains erupted from the soil and launched at the dragon's neck. Astra snapped them mid-air with one burst of blue flame. The chains fell, smoking. The young grey dragon shrieked and darted behind Lara's legs. Astra rumbled at the hunters, voice dropping into a register that vibrated bone. Enough. The hunters hesitated. Just long enough. Lara grabbed the young dragon under one arm like a football, cleaver in her other hand, and screamed, Now! Astra lunged. Wings detonated the air. Tents ripped from their posts and went spinning into the camp like white sails. Spellfires shot from below, missing. Lara scrambled up Astra's back. Young dragon clutched to her chest, and the dragon launched skyward. Behind them, Richard watched her rise into the dawn with an expression she could not read. It almost looked like respect. Astra burst through cloud cover at full wingspan, sunrise slamming the horizon orange, the hunter's camp shrinking below into a smoking pinprick, and Lara Chen, riding the dragon's neck, with the young grey dragon clutched to her chest, screamed into the wind. Higher, higher. Bolts of magical light streaked past her shoulder, tracking arrows enchanted to find body heat. She did not flinch. She opened the portal mid-air and threw out the only object her grandmother had ever given her permission to use as a weapon, a fire extinguisher. It burst against the wind. White powder sprayed across the tracking arrows behind them, scrambling their guidance enchantments. The arrows spun useless, lost lock, and fell back into the cloud bank. Lara shouted over the wind, That was a fire extinguisher, Astra. The dragon rumbled, almost laughing. Logistics. Below, the hunter leader watched them rise, his expression unreadable. He turned to his subordinates and said quietly, Prepare the pursuit teams. We don't lose assets. Astra leveled out, breathing hard, wing torn at one edge, cobalt scales blackened at the rip. The dragon asked, Where now? Lara, hair whipping, eyes still wet from wind, pointed toward a vast green expanse on the far horizon, different sky, different air, already smelling of earth instead of ash and iron. She whispered, Bye, Richard. Astra murmured, No humans. Lara answered, No cages. The dragon's wings caught a thermal updraft. They rose another 1,000 feet. For 1 full minute, 1 minute exactly, Lara Chen, 28, junior analyst at Worthington Capital, felt something she had not felt since college. She felt free. Then a wyvern broke through the clouds behind them.